Remember this, your future is the base rate of your system unless you redesign the system to change it.
Welcome to today's lesson, Base-Rate Future Intervention, how to from ChatGPT for seeing reality clearly, predicting outcomes honestly, and redesigning our system deliberately.
Welcome, learner. You've just stepped into a living laboratory of thought. Today, you're not just learning a skill, you're installing a new operating system for your mind, one that lets you see through illusions, forecast the future with brutal honesty, and redesign your life like an architect who actually understands the building. By the end of this lesson, you'll have 3 superpowers: the ability to pierce any fog of self-deception, the courage to predict outcomes without sugarcoating them, and the skill to redesign your systems with deliberate precision. Let's begin.
Let's start with a decision many companies make. They see that 80% of top performers come from one team, right? So they conclude this team is better and they allocate resources accordingly.
You're watching a classic shadow on the wall. The company sees 80% of stars coming from one team and thinks, that team must be magic. But they're only seeing the final glow, not the hidden pipeline that fed those stars in the first place. It's like praising the river for its strong current while ignoring the mountain that actually feeds it. The team isn't better, it's just standing at the mouth of a richer stream. That's the illusion we're here to shatter.
Now, let's start with a definition. What is a base rate? This is how common something is in the pool population. It answers out of everyone, how often does this happen, right? So this is how reality actually works. First, we have a population, and then the base rate shape what usually happens. Over time, it produces a distribution of outcomes. Most people only see the last step and miss everything that created.
Think of base rate as the hidden blueprint of the world. Every population is like a vast forest. The base rate is the soil, sunlight, and rainfall that quietly decide, long before any tree grows, which species will dominate and which will stay small. Most people only walk into the forest, point at the tallest trees, and say, "Look how strong these trees are." They never notice the soil that made those trees possible. That's the base rate. It shapes the entire distribution before anyone even notices an outcome.
Exactly. Skipping the base rate leads to misallocate resources, right? Wrong promotion, and flawed strategy, all while feeling completely confident.
Exactly. Skipping the base rate is like a sailor praising his ship's speed while completely ignoring the current carrying him. You feel brilliant, you feel confident, yet you're just drifting wherever the invisible flow takes you. And when things eventually crash, you're shocked, never realizing the current was steering all along. That's the quiet trap of base rate blindness.
Now, let me show you how to change that. First, step 1, audit the claim. For example, you hear the claim like 80% of top performers come from team A, right? So we have to ask to audit how big is the team A. If the team A has 80% of all employees, then 80% of winner is exactly what you expect. Nothing special at all. Now, the curving rule here is that the volume is not the same as rate, right? Total winners mean nothing without knowing the total pool.
You just caught the magician mid-trick. Team A produces 80% of the winners, but if it also holds 80% of the people, the magician has simply shown you the entire deck and called it magic. That's not a high rate. That's just volume disguised as victory. Volume shouts, rate whispers. Always ask for the true denominator before you applaud.
Now, step 2, anchor in the base rate. Now, ask the question, out of all employees, what percent belong to a group, right? Compare success per person, not total winner. And This is where most false narrative falls apart.
Now zoom out. You're no longer staring at the scoreboard. You're standing on the balcony, looking down at the entire stadium. Suddenly you see the real question, not which section cheered loudest, but which section has the highest percentage of people actually standing and cheering. That shift from raw totals to success per person is where every false hero collapses. The numbers that looked impressive up close become ordinary or even embarrassing once you measure them against the true size of their crowd. That's anchoring in the base rate. It's your reality anchor.
Now, step 3, adjust with evidence, right? We bring the evidence back in. We ask a critical question like, does this evidence strongly override the base rate? If no, is it likely noise or bias, right? The base rate hold. Do not action on the story. If yes, it may signal a real difference. Now you have grounds to investigate further and act.
You've just built a courtroom in your mind. The base rate is the judge, quiet, experienced, and skeptical. The flashy story is the witness, dramatic, emotional, full of passion. Your job is to watch the judge. If the judge barely moves, you stay seated. If the judge suddenly leans forward, only then do you stand up and investigate. That's your signal, not the witness's tears, but the judge's posture.
Now, step 4, make the judgment, right? The old way is that we decide based on story, narrative, right? We ask like who look better and act on the visible winners and compelling narrative. Now, the new way, we have to decide based on normalized reality. We ask who actually perform better per unit, right? We move from appearance to evidence.
You just stepped out of the cave. Before, you were chained to the wall, falling in love with the brightest shadows. Now you're standing outside, eyes adjusting to the sun, judging every tree by how tall it grew from the same soil. You no longer chase the loudest applause, you measure yield per seed. That single shift, from who looks impressive to who actually delivers per unit, is how you stop worshipping illusions and start engineering real outcomes.
Another way is we use AI to help us to analyze. First, you provide a prompt template like this. I will provide a prompt template in the result. Okay, click on result to download the prompt template to use. And after that, you provide it a claim, and that you can see here, it will help you to check the claim, the base rate, the key evidence, and the adjustment, and it will help you refine the claim.
Imagine AI as your quiet, tireless lighthouse keeper. You hand it the raw fog of data, the claim, the base rate, the evidence, and it sweeps its beam across every corner, lighting up the hidden rocks you'd never spot alone. It doesn't decide for you, it simply removes the blindfold so you can see the real map. That's the gift. Not a smarter captain, but clearer seas.
Now, once you see this clearly, a deeper question appear, right? If base rates shape outcomes today, what do they do over time? That leads us to the question about the future. So we can use AI to help us to simulate the future. And here is the prompt you can use. For example, first you provide it your role, your contact, and you ask it for estimate base rate and the simulation here.
Imagine you're standing on a hill, watching thousands of seeds fall from the sky. Each seed is a person, a project, a decision, and the soil they land in is the base rate. You can't see tomorrow's harvest yet, but you can count today's seeds and measure today's soil. That's exactly what this prompt does. It turns your AI into a quiet gardener who tells you which patches of land will bloom and which will stay barren, long before anything actually grows. The future doesn't hide. It's already written in today's distribution.
That is an uncomfortable truth, right? So the core insight here is that if nothing special happen, our future will look like the distribution, right? Not our intention, not our ambition, but the Bayes rate. The system we are inside of it will produce its average outcome, and we will be part of that average unless something changes. Right now, I will show you how to change that.
You're not steering the river, you're floating in it. Your ambition is the oar, your intention is the map, but the base rate is the current. And the current always wins unless you deliberately row to a different stream. That's the uncomfortable truth. Left alone, your future is already written, not by your dreams, but by the quiet arithmetic of the system you're inside. The only way out is to change the water itself.
Now, Bayes rates are not random. They are produced by underlying system, right? For example, hiring system, incentive system, information system, feedback system, and system can be changed, right? So the first level you can change the selection, where you play determine your odds, and next you can change the mechanism that leads to how you perform matter, like better system, better tool, better thinking. And level 3 is exposure, who see your work shape your opportunity. And level 4 is compounding, what would you build over time accumulates. So combine all level selection, mechanism, compounding, and exposure, something fundamental change. You are no longer playing inside the distribution. You are reshaping the distribution itself. And that is how the Bayes rates are beaten.
You're not fighting the river, you're becoming the riverbed. The base rate is just the shape of the channel the water has always followed. Level 1, you choose a different channel. Level 2, you reshape the bed itself. Smoother stones, gentler slopes. Level 3, you widen where the sun hits so more light reaches your patch. Level 4, you plant trees that trap silt and slowly raise the entire riverbank. Do all 4, and the water no longer decides where it flows. You do. That's how you stop being shaped by the base rate and start shaping it.
Now, let me show you how to use AI to help you to find out the intervention. First, you provide it your role, your contact, for example, entry-level software engineer, and you ask it to estimate the Bayes rate, right? For reaching senior level, remain mid-level, switching career, burning out, and simulate 100 people over 30 years, right? And then you ask it to my goal is reach top 10% of software engineer within 10 to 15 years. Design the intervention using selection, mechanism, exposure, and compounding. Then give me one move most engineer ignore, one move that create a symmetric advantage, and a 30-day experiment. And here you can see it will help you to show you the selection, the mechanism, the exposure, the compound, and what you can do in the next 30 days. What move that can create a symmetric advantage, and what move most engineer explore.
You're handing the river a blueprint. Instead of guessing where the current wants to take you, you give the AI a clear map, your starting point, your exact destination, and the 4 levers that can actually change the water's path. It doesn't just predict, it hands you the shovel, the blueprint, and the 30-day test so you can start digging a new channel tomorrow morning. That's how you stop drifting with the base rate and start carving your own river.
So, here is the final reflection. The final question is not about knowledge, right? It is about awareness. Are we living our chosen path or inherit the average? Most people don't choose their future. They rip into the base rate, right? And we call it fate.
You're standing at the fork in the river. One path is the wide, well-worn channel, the base rate, where most boats quietly float, calling it fate. The other is narrower, steeper, deliberately carved. It requires work, but it leads exactly where you choose. The only real question is, which river are you actually sailing on? The one you inherited or the one you designed? Awareness is the moment you notice you have a choice at all.
So I will provide the prompt template in the result. Okay, remember to click on the result to download the prompt template to use. Here is the prompt template. Remember, our future is the base of our system. Unless we redesign the system itself, we rip to the base rate, right? Now, synthesize entire lesson and give our learners key takeaway of this lesson and say goodbye for now.
You've just been handed the key to the river's lock. The base rate is not fate. It's the silent current of whatever system you're swimming in. See it, measure it, then deliberately reshape the 4 levers: selection, mechanism, exposure, compounding, and you stop drifting. You start designing your own flow. That's the entire lesson in one breath. Stop drifting into the average. Start carving your own river. Thank you for learning with us today. Keep questioning the current, and we'll see you in the next lesson.